All right, good morning. I am out here with the pigs, probably standing in pig poop. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about sustainability on the homestead and some of the practices we use to be a little bit more sustainable. For those of you who don't know, my wife and I, about 2 years ago, moved out here to North Carolina. We came in the wave of northern Alabama, and before that we were in Northern California. And so we are a couple city kids who ended up wanting to kind of start homesteading, and we've been doing it for probably about almost 5 years now, between Alabama and here. And on our farm we raise chickens, pigs, turkeys, both egg layer and meat birds, as far as chickens goes. And that's all we got so far, but we do have aspirations to raise different animals. We've thought about raising rabbits. We've also thought about maybe getting into a grazing animal like sheep or a cow maybe, but we'll see. We're pretty well stocked right now. So yeah, on the homestead, we try to aim to have as little waste as possible. So a couple things we do is, the animals that we raise them for ourselves. We do raise some to sell, and we try to use as much of the animal as we possibly can when we are processing the animal. So we do save all of the fat, we do try to save all the bones, we do make a ton of broths. We'll use as much of the animal as we possibly can. We do have a small garden this year, not so great, just due to, also for those of you who don't know, my wife is about 8 months pregnant right now. And so we decided to kind of not focus on the garden. It is now completely full of weeds. We do have a few pepper plants I need to pull some peppers off of, but it was kind of, we went to the nursery, bought some plants, stuck them in the ground, and we've left them. And that's basically been the garden this year. So here on the homestead, we do cook a lot of our own meals. So with that, we do try to take a lot of our food scraps and we either compost them or we'll feed them to our pigs. We feed them to our chickens. Both pigs and chickens, turkeys to some extent as well, are really great about using up old food scraps. We do have kind of a very simple rules. We try not to feed chicken to chicken. We try not to feed pork to pork. I don't think we've messed that up, but maybe a morsel here or there, but I definitely don't want to be feeding the rest of a pork tenderloin or something to the pigs. It just doesn't really sit right with me. But the other thing we try to do too is we'll take scraps from the garden when we're clearing it out, throw them in with the chickens and the pigs, and they'll rough it up, they'll eat it up, and nothing really goes to waste. Coming up here pretty soon, because we have all the weeds in the garden, I am thinking about actually putting the chicken fence. We got our chickens right out here, our egg layers. I'm thinking about building their next fence around our entire garden and then just letting them do the work on clearing it out. One thing we like to do on the farm too is also utilize the animals and do work for us. So we do have a pig in our woods who's clearing that out. I do want to get a couple of these pigs into the woods over here and get them to start clearing that out. And then we get the chickens clearing out our garden. So in the past, we fed a lot of food scraps to our animals, pigs and chickens, somewhat turkeys. But lately we've been putting a lot of our food scraps into our compost pile. And a couple reasons for that. One is we don't have a great supply of compost, good compost out here. And so we're trying to make as much as we possibly can. It's nice to take the leftover potatoes that have been sitting in the fridge that one day longer than you feel comfortable feeding or eating them and feeding them to the pigs and turning them into bacon. But the compost is what we need right now. So that's where all of our food scraps go. But whether it's food scraps into the compost or food scraps into your animals, it's all getting used and will be nourishing for you later on. Whether we put the compost in our garden, grow fruits and vegetables, consume those, or we give them to the animals and we have tasty chicken and delicious bacon. if we were to be feeding our animals more food scraps, there are things. There's a cat in this bush. Come here, kitty. Come here. Hi. All right, where was I? If we were to feed the scraps of the animals, there are still some foods that I don't feel comfortable feeding to the animals. There's parts of avocados, I think the skins and the pits. I don't know if the pits are, I think only they're good for them, but they are also a huge choking hazard. And a chicken can't do anything with the pit, it's just too big. Onions aren't good for a lot of animals, you know, like moldy food and stuff like that. And so any of those foods that we question whether we're going to give them to the animals, they automatically go in the compost, whether or not we're trying to build compost or not. So we always have a compost pile going. We always have animals that can eat food, and it's just really nice that where we live out in the county, and so we don't have trash service at our place, and so we have to drive our trash to a little dump site. It's great because it's free, and it's one thing I actually do like about it is I get to see how much trash we're contributing to our local area and landfill, and you know, when we go a couple weeks without having to go, and it's only like a trash bag full of just random, you know, packaging, unfortunately usually something from Amazon or something like that, it's nice to know that we're not contributing as much as we did when we were in the city, you know, so that's been cool. So when we our system is when we're cooking in the kitchen, we do have a little scrap bin, and it sits by our kitchen sink, and all food scraps go in there. And then we can, you know, again, right now everything's going to the compost, but we can also, if we have something that's super tasty, we'll give that to the pigs. Recently, what was it? I just cooked something. I think I made some broth or something like that, and there was a bunch of the, you know, the bits left over, and I gave those to the pigs, and they loved them. We've had blueberries from our blueberry orchard that got kind of mushy, that were sitting on the counter. We gave those to, you know, to the pigs. If we have, you know, apples that we just didn't quite eat, we'll give those to the pigs. Any kind of food scraps, like from what we've, you know, meals we've eaten and not finished or whatever, we'll put that in the compost. So that little bin sits next to our kitchen sink, and then, you know, once a day we'll usually walk it out, dump it in the compost. All our eggshells and coffee grinds and all that stuff go in there. And yeah, over time it just makes some really good compost. And since it's like getting to the middle of September and it's kind of popped in my mind, one great thing kind of post Halloween is if you can get your hands on a bunch of like unsold pumpkins, or even pumpkins you've bought and haven't torn up, you can give those to your pigs, and that can have some great effects. I believe it acts as like a little bit of a dewormer. They love pumpkin, so pumpkins and squash like that can be really good for pigs and chickens. All right, so that's kind of how we try to, you know, live a slightly less wasteful life here on the homestead. When it comes to food, we try to use as much as we can. We spend a lot of time and effort and money raising our animals. We get them really good feed. We move them, rotationally graze them throughout our property. So there's a lot of effort we've put into raising these animals. So not only do we not want to waste them once we do butcher them, but we also want to treat them as best we can while they're alive. And, you know, so it's a big kind of, you know, cycle. And it's nice just not having the waste. It's honestly kind of a no-brainer, but yeah, so hopefully you guys got something out of that, and I want to thank you for watching, and have a good night. Hey, pig, 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 pig.